I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Starting from scratch, I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not, because I still believe you're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through, I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not, because I still believe you're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling out my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go. The only thing that I know, you were my gravity, but now I had to leave. I will let you go. Why do you think that I want? Why do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity. 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 I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Starting from scratch, I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not.
Warning: the Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we get set for our 21st race of the 8th season of the NNSCRA Duracell Next Gen Cup Series. Getting ready here for our 8th race at the Kentucky Speedway, a track that has been on the schedule ever since the inception of this series. Back in Season 1, it was a race just before the All-Star race break. It was then moved down towards the second half of the regular season. It has been there ever since, and it's going to play a huge part, really, I think, here today into the outcome of who's going to be one of those 16 drivers that is going to be battling in this season's playoffs with the hope of being the Season 8 champion. We've had a number of drivers go to victory lane multiple times this season. We've got a lot of drivers that are hovering just around that 30th and standings cut line with victories, and we've got a lot of hopefuls that haven't yet gone to victory lane but have been consistent enough this season to be up just inside of the top 15 in points and are hoping that maybe they'll be able to point their way into a wild card spot. But there's still, including here tonight, 6 races left in this regular season. A lot can happen between now and when the checkered flag waves at the Auto Club Speedway. Dylan Poteet, one season ago, when we were at the finale in Michigan, he was in the Final Four with a chance of competing for the championship. This season, though, it's been a complete polar opposite. He's only been able to score 4 top 10s, 2 of those finishes inside of the top 5. He's 31st in points coming into this race. He does get his second pole of the season, but the good starting track position has not translated to good finishing positions. And while I'm looking at the point standings here, I've been trying to, during the course of this week between Donkey Kong Jungle Raceway and this afternoon's event here at Kentucky, but trying to do the mathematics of who can still point their way up into a top 10 points paying position and who is in the must-win category. And I believe that Dylan Poteet is one of those drivers that right now he needs to win. He needs to win. It may get to a point here where he may need to win twice in this regular season. It's really going to depend on who else goes to victory lane between now and Auto Club, but he definitely, I think, is a driver that falls into a must-win category for a wild card spot. I don't really see, with how close the points have been and how difficult it's been to be able to make up chunks of points positions each and every week, I don't really see a path of Dylan Poteet being able to accumulate enough finishes, even if he top 5s his way through the rest of the regular season, to get up in the top 10 in points. So I think he really needs to win here tonight or at some point during the rest of this regular season. On the flip side, though, you've got Jesse Turner, who's on the outside of the front row. Jesse has numerous times, almost every season, made it into the playoffs. This season, another driver that is a seasoned veteran that appears to be struggling. He's only scored 1 top 5 this season, 4 finishes inside of the top 10. The only difference between him and Dylan Poteet, though, is Jesse is 23rd in points coming into this one. And if we look at the gap between him and 10th in the standings, surprisingly, it's only 41 points from him to Quentin Moore, who currently has the 10th position in overall standings. 6 races, 41 points. 41 points pretty much equates to finishing in second place. You can make up 41 points in 2 or 3 races, let alone twice that much, 5 or 6 races here remaining in the regular season. So for Jesse Turner, he's not in a must-win scenario. I think that he really should treat these upcoming races as must-win, because then I think a victory would put him solidly in a wild card position. But he is in a scenario where he mathematically could have enough consistent finishes and point his way up into the top 10. It is not necessarily a must-win scenario, but I think he'd be smart to approach these races as a must-win type scenario each one of these weeks. Another driver that is not in a must-win situation, but I think that he definitely would like to treat this race as such, as Levi McIntyre. Levi coming into this race in that battle with Carson Gum for the overall points lead. Those two have been back and forth and back and forth and back and forth continually. Tonight, Carson Gum has 1 point over Levi for the overall point standings lead. Levi does not need to win. He is looking really strong. He's 85 points ahead of 10th in the standings. He's looking like he's easily going to point his way in. However, Levi is the only one currently inside of the top 5 in overall points that has not gone to victory lane. The other 4 competitors have gone to victory lane a total of 10 times. So for Levi, the want to find victory lane is definitely there. The need to find victory lane is not necessarily as prevalent as it is for others, but I think that Levi has the luxury, has the freedom right now to treat tonight's race as a must-win scenario. Try and get to victory lane for the first time here in Season 8. Get himself an extra 5 bonus points as well for when the point stands are reformatted. I think that Levi definitely is going to be gunning for that trip to victory lane here in this one. And then alongside of him, Casey Hoyt. So let's talk about the defending Rookie of the Year from one season ago. Casey, coming into this race, 24th in the point standings. He has had better statistics than both Jesse Turner and Dylan Poteet, as he's had 6 finishes inside of the top 10, and 5 of those have been inside of the top 5. He had a great run last time out at Donkey Kong Jungle Raceway, so the momentum is definitely there. However, he definitely would love to have a victory to lock himself into a wildcard spot, but being only 1 position below Jesse Turner, he falls into the same scenario that Turner does. Now, Turner, I think I ended up saying, was 41 points out of the 10th position in points standings. Casey Hoyt is only 44 points. So for both Turner and Hoyt, good starting track position here tonight. They could easily, with some good runs down the home stretch, point their way into the top 10 for a last-minute playoff position. A lot of other scenarios through the field. We don't have time to go through all of them right now here in pre-race. We are going to be heading down to trackside, getting those famous words in motorsports and getting ready to go racing here at the Kentucky Speedway, capping off what's been a really exciting race weekend here. And let's go get that command right now.
Drivers, start your engines!
On the right side of your screen, you'll see your 42-car starting lineup, including a name that we have not seen on a Cup Series lineup before, as Hiccup Bush for World NOS Racing, going to make his Duracell Next Gen Cup Series debut here today. Here's your point standings coming into this race. Carson Gum, 1 point over Levi McIntyre. Ryan Brommer sits 3rd. James Qualls moved up a couple of spots to 4th after his 2nd victory on the season last week at Donkey Kong Jungle Raceway. 4-time winner Destin Bolin sits in 5th. Alexander Rowe dropped a couple of spots. He's 6th. Eric Sadler in 7th. Jack Mitchell makes his way back up into the top 10. Gained 4 spots last week to move to 8th. Joshua Osborne right now in 9th, and Quentin Moore holds on to the final position in the point standings, 10th place. Matt Haas, Connor Breton hold wildcard spots via multiple-time winners. R.J. Bishop, Nathan Ormond, and Daniel Voiles hold the wildcard spots 3 through 5. Right now, Eric Monaco, highest driver in the point standings without a victory, holds the 6th and final wildcard spot as Keith Batson looks to make his way back into the top 30 in points, 35th in points coming to this one, the only former winner outside of the top 30. Here we go, 107 laps here today at Kentucky, and we are racing in the Bluegrass State. deadlocked out of turn 2. Poteet on the bottom, Turner on the top. Casey Hoyt tries to shoot up the middle. Poteet will clear the 24, still not clear on the 47. Turner actually around the top. Gets the run off the final corner, and he will lead lap number 1. Poteet drops back to second, Hoyt in third, side by side for fourth. Levi McIntyre on the bottom. Well, now to the middle as Benjamin Snyder will shoot to the inside. Laura Chung on the top in the 77, coming off that top 5 finish last week. Almost picked up the victory at Donkey Kong Jungle Raceway, but an errant final corner coming to the race ending yellow gave James Qualls the race lead and eventually the race win. As there you see that top side coming into play there through 1 and 2. If you tuned into our, whoops, somebody's got trouble back there. Somebody was really slow and the caution's out. They stacked up. That might have been Destin Bolin. Someone had a really slow moment out of turn 2 and everybody wadded up behind them. Caution waves as Poteet tries to make a charge here and will come up just short on Jesse Turner. Coming to the first yellow of the evening. Something was amiss on one of those machines back there. It was a blue hooded machine. I don't believe it was this car of Benjamin Miles. Yeah, Destin Bolin's on pit road. I think he had something mechanical happen because that car just slowed coming out of turn 2. I just barely caught it at the tail end of the field. And then his drivers were double wide, 3 wide behind him. I think they wadded up and somebody got turned. Caution's out and everybody's going to come down pit road, taking the opportunity here under yellow to make a pit stop. That'll give us the opportunity to go back, take a look at what happened. I'm actually being told Benjamin Miles missed the grid. That's why we saw him so far back. He's a couple of laps down, so he missed taking the green. As we'll see what happens here with Destin Bolin. Let's take it back to turn 1. Watch this live. It's on the top side of his teammate Eric Sadler. And watch how the car just slows right here. Right in front of Michael Norman. Yeah, you see the car kind of bogged down. It looks like he's kind of under power, but then contact behind him. As that was Cody Lamas getting up into Michael Norman. Caleb Fogler also gets a piece of it. See who makes the initial contact here. Might be Cody. Hopefully this camera shot will give us an idea. Might not. Yeah, right there. Yeah, Cody runs into the left rear of Destin Bolin, and then that shoots him up into Norman and Fogler. Charles Sanford was right behind that, and I think he was able to avoid. But problems here for the 4-time winner, Destin Bolin. Driver that comes into this race 5th in overall standings. Try and diagnose what exactly happened there on Destin. As I believe he is going to come off of pit road a lap down. And now he's coming back down pit road, actually, under this second lap of pacing. So he is off the lead lap. We can confirm that. He is -1. Benjamin Miles is -2 after we've just got confirmation as well. He did not roll off the starting lineup. And so both Bolin and Miles going to have to try and get their lap or laps, depending on situation, back the hard way. Been a tough season here, especially second half of this regular season for Benjamin Miles. A driver that first half of the regular season we were talking about up there battling for a spot inside the top 10 in points. And now, 6 races removed from the conclusion of the regular season, and Benjamin finds himself 26th in overall point standings. Lost 5 positions after last week's road course race. A number of drivers took some big hits in the point standings last week. Cole Deaver lost 8 spots. He's now 27th. Both Matt McIntyre and RJ Bishop lost 7 spots each. RJ's now 20th, former winner of the season. Matt McIntyre is 25th. We were talking about Matt McIntyre, about a month and a half ago? up there inside of the top 10 in points. And that team is really fallen and fallen hard. On the flip side, your biggest gainers last week. 7 spots gained by Laura Chung after the top 5 finish. Her first top 5 of the season moves her to 17th in points. 6 positions gained by both Zachary Fitzwater and Nathan Ormond. Fitzwater's now up to 16th in the overall standings. Nathan Ormond, former winner on the season, now 22nd. And Nick Gunther was the 3rd highest gainer in the point standings. 12th in overall points now after he gained 5 spots last week. Something I didn't mention is we do have 5 former Kentucky winners in the field here tonight, including the aforementioned Nick Gunther. Connor Breton was the defending winner of this race coming in. Nick Gunther won this event back in season 6. Nathan Ormond won this race in season 4. Matt Haas, the winner in season 3, and Benjamin Miles, the winner in season 2. As you see him lined up on the inside line there, now 2 laps down. Destin Bolin, 1 lap down. The other former winners that are not in the field here tonight, Jordan Lopez, former champion, was the winner back in season 5. And the inaugural winner of this event back in season 1 was James Shelley. Still a long ways to go in this one. Working our first yellow flag of the night. Mechanical failure leading to a stack up. Drivers involved, Cody Lamas, Michael Norman. They have made repairs. Same for Caleb Fogler. They're still on the lead lap. We'll have to see if they're up to speed or not. Jesse Turner was the first one on and off pit road. He'll lead Dylan Poteet, Jessica Shelton, Summer Henson, and Casey Hoyt to the green flag. Into the Geico restart zone. Turner up through the gears. Great launch. Clears the lap cars on the inside, and he'll have his choice of how he wants to enter into turn 1. Poteet still left to fight with the lap traffic. And now Benjamin Miles putting the pressure on Turner, looking to get one of his 2 laps back. Hope for a quick yellow. Get back to -1. Poteet still side by side with Destin Bolin. Might clear him here on the front straightaway. And now Shelton will look to jump to the right rear quarter panel of the Frosted Flakes Dark Horse Mustang. Henson drives it in deep alongside of Shelton for 3rd through 1 and 2. Summer Henson might be able to clear Shelton with the aid of the lap car of Destin Bolin. Henson will now move to 3rd. Shelton drops to 4th. Look at this up here is Miles trying to get to the inside of Turner while Poteet's trying to get to the inside of him. Both the 25 and the 31 gunning for the 47, but for different reasons. Miles wants his lap back. Poteet wants the race lead back. After Poteet started on the pole, but he has yet to get the bonus point for a lap led. Turner swung around him, led lap 1, and has led ever since. Now Miles on the inside line, looks to clear, and almost does. Turner will battle back. Miles going to try to send it in here in turn 1. Try and clear up, and he will do so. So Miles now back to 1 lap down. Poteet tried to follow suit. Couldn't get back to the throttle through the center of the corner. Turner will keep the lead. Poteet in 2nd, now under fire from Summer Henson. Dylan Poteet, one of 2 Kentucky natives. Actually, maybe, no, 3 Kentucky natives, right? In this field here. Considering this a home track. Dylan Poteet, last week's winner James Qualls, and Joshua Osborne. Saw some dust kicked up there on the front straightaway the last time by. We're still under green. I don't think anybody... Oh, they did. The 4 of Kyler Sustre is on pit road. I noticed him on the scoring that he was about 10 seconds behind the leader, and I didn't know if maybe somebody came to pit road Sustry may have missed the commitment line, and that's why that dust is kicked up on the front straightaway. Might have gotten his right sides into the grass, but unscheduled pit stop for the Mobil 1 Toyota out of Haas Racing, who of course is the team coming into this weekend that is looking for the sweep after Wes McCoy picked up his first career victory in yesterday's Duracell Ultra Light Series race. Look at this battling back here. Casey Hoyt just got around Jessica Shelton, and we talked about Hiccup Busch. A few weeks ago, we saw him signed full-time as a non-charter entry for World NOS Racing. Attempted to make his, contact there with Carson Gum. Attempted to make his first start, I believe it was back at Iowa Speedway. And he is DNQ'd week after week after week. Finally was able to qualify into the top 2 in knockout qualifying back on Saturday morning's qualifying session. And he's making his Cup debut, and right now making the most of it. Right now inside of the top 10 in the 9th position. So congratulations to Hiccup Busch, and with that being said, let's go on board the Brandt Dark Horse Mustang and listen to how you run around this racetrack while battling side by side and in a tussle with a couple of drivers inside of the top 5 in overall points, Levi McIntyre and Ryan Brommer. One thing I observed there, a lot more off-throttle time for the Cup cars than there was for the Lights drivers yesterday, as we've just had an exchange for the lead. We saw with the onboard, I could see that powder blue 38 closing up on Jesse Turner, and Benjamin Snyder completes the pass, and he will go to the front. First lead change of the night. And it's one Ford bypassing another. Benjamin Snyder looking for his first career win in Duracell Next Gen Cup Series competition. He comes into this race 33rd in points, so he falls into the category of those drivers that really need a win if they're even going to have a shot at the playoffs via a wild card spot. We already talked about Dylan Poteet, Caleb Fogler, Kyle Matthews, Dylan Young, all falling under that category right now. And even with a win, it's not guaranteed they're going to make it into the playoffs, because right now we've got 5 former winners filling up those wild card positions. And with 6 races left, we could have 6 different winners that aren't inside the top 10 in points. Could make things very convoluted for the wild card spot. It's already that way on the Lights side, and it could be that way on the Cup side as well. Summer Henson right now in the 4th position, and look who's been able to work his way up into, make it Summer Henson in 3rd, and now moving into 4th is Reggie Fogelman. Reggie looking for his first victory since season 5. Remember, he ended up getting that victory when we had 3 drivers per car. It was the number 44 Switch Dodge, if I recall correctly. He then moved over to Northeast Motorsports, made the call then to jump over to Haas Racing. Looking for his 2nd career win is Reggie Fogelman. His 2nd place under contest now. Summer Henson Going to get by Jesse Turner. Settling into a nice long run, so we're starting to get an idea who's got the long run cars, who's got the short run cars. Looks like Turner's car may be falling off a bit here. I've noticed a couple of other drivers that have started falling back. Dylan Poteet and Jessica Schulten have started losing ground. Meanwhile, Snyder, Fogelman, Carson Gum, Ryan Brommer, they're starting to move forward. There is Carson, making his way around the outside of the lap machine of Destin Bolin. We need to remember that 0-2 is currently 1 lap down. We do have an update on Kyler Sustre as well after the unscheduled pit stop. Looks like he has returned to the track. He is 5 laps down right now. Last car scored in this race in 41st position. And apologies for that slight little break there in the action. The reason you heard the questioning in my voice is because I thought maybe I had made a mistake and not gridded up all 42 cars, but I actually did. I took the opportunity to go back and look just to make sure that I didn't make an error, and there are only 41 cars being scored because not only did we have Benjamin Miles have a problem rolling off of the grid, he was able to continue, though, albeit 1 lap down. But another driver did not roll off the grid under power. And he's going to get scored 42nd here tonight. Didn't even take the green flag. And that is 2-time winner Matt Haas. So I wanted to just make absolutely certain that I didn't make an error and didn't put somebody in the lineup. I did. And if you need the proof, I can actually show you how I found out myself. We'll bring up just the little unofficial ticker, and if we scroll all the way down, you can see behind the server car is the 8. So that is a tough break there for Matt Haas, who came into this one in the first wild card position. Our Daytona 500 winner, 15th in overall points. Snyder trying to run away with the race lead, closing up on Benjamin Miles. Reggie Fogelman in control of second, Carson Gum in third. I was going to observe back when we had that onboard with Hiccup Bush. Carson Gum, Levi McIntyre, they were in pretty close proximity to each other, as was Ryan Brommer. You know, we've been talking about this battle between Carson and Levi every week. And a few drivers have started reeling those two in and may make it a multi-man fight for the regular season championship. Ryan Brommer coming into this race is only 10 points out of the points lead. And James Qualls, after his victory last week, has closed up the gap between him and that points lead to 28 points. So it's not a foregone conclusion that it's just going to be Carson Gum and Levi McIntyre for those 15 extra bonus points for the regular season championship. Ryan Brommer, James Qualls still could have a shot at this thing. Destin Bolin, maybe. Not tonight, but, you know, in these final remaining 5 races, could still have a shot. He, of course, is going to have 20 bonus points coming his way with his 4 victories on the season, 5 points each. Carson's going to have 15 bonus points for his 3 wins. And Qualls will have 10 bonus points for his 2. A couple of good runs here for the Auto Junction Racing Toyotas. Summer Henson in 4th. Ryan Brommer holding down 5th under fire from Casey Hoyt. Outside Polster, I should say. Jesse Turner behind them in the 7th position, and we mentioned last week Zachary Fitzwater moving up from 22nd to 16th in the standings. After a great run at Donkey Kong Jungle Raceway, he's working his way forward. He just got around Jesse Turner, moving from 8th now to 7th. So keep an eye on Fitzy here, it looks like, during this close of the regular season. They may have found something in that Blue Oval Automotive Dark Horse Mustang. Of course, Blue Oval Automotive have won a championship before with Jordan Lopez. They, of course, have, well, had the most winningest driver in Duracell Cup Series history, Jose Mills. Pick up all of his victories for that organization. That now a title shared between Jose Mills and Carson Gum. And they've had some former champions drive for them as well. Chris Dollerton, of course, has driven for Blue Oval Automotive in the past. He was the inaugural champion back in Season 1. Caleb Fogler drives for them now, and he picked up a championship back with S3 Motorsports in Season 5. Another driver on the move is Autumn Brooks. She just made her way by a couple of drivers in a matter of a couple of corners. Went from 10th, getting by Turner and Potey, to move to 8th. We mentioned about Hiccup Bush, one of the drivers that qualified in via the knockout Q yesterday. Autumn was the other one, and she is, actually making some contact right there with Casey Hoyt going into turn 3. There's Levi McIntyre. After starting 3rd, right now in 11th, right behind Potey, the pole sitter, who is in 10th. I noticed the bright yellow 89 of Quentin Moore right now in 13th, coming into this race in maybe the biggest pressure spot of anybody, 10th in the overall standings. All three of the Joanna Motorsports cars are inside the top 10 in points right now. But Quentin's got a bunch of drivers breathing down his neck. Eric Monaco, Summer Henson, Michael Norman, even the car right behind him, Nick Gunther, is only 14 points out of 10th in the standings. And Quentin Morgan kind of get freight trained here as Eric Sadler looks to make his way on by. Eric had a great run here. Whoa! Contact as he will shove Jessica Schulten up the track there going into 1. Eric coming up a top 5 run in the lights race here yesterday. In all the races that Eric has taken part in light series competition, he's finished in the top 10. Well, he's finished in the top 5 in all of them as well. Everybody that is out on the racetrack, or at least took the green flag to start this race, is still running, as we've had an exchange for the lead. Carson Gum got by Reggie Fogelman and just completed the pass on Benjamin Snyder to go to the point. Snyder now under fire from Reggie Fogelman for second. So that'll be our second lead change of the evening. But right now we've got 41 drivers running, 38 of them on the lead lap. Destin Bolin 1 lap down, Benjamin Miles 1 lap down, trying to fight to stay only 1 lap down, right ahead of the leader Carson Gum, and Kyler Sustre 5 laps down. If you're just joining us, we did have 42 cars listed for this race. Two-time winner, our Daytona 500 winner, Matt Haas, did not take the green. They pushed his car immediately behind the wall, and he'll get credited here tonight for 42nd place. Carson having a little trouble getting around Benjamin Miles. That's going to bring another Benjamin to his outside, potentially. Benjamin Snyder looking to get the race lead back. Jesse Turner led the first 17 laps of this race. Benjamin Snyder led the next 16, so he is 1 lap shy of tying Jesse Turner for most laps led here this afternoon. Looking for that valuable most laps led bonus point. And now Carson Gum takes the top position. He's led the last 4 laps. One thing that we definitely can say is these drivers here in the Cup Series side can go a lot further on fuel than the drivers on the Duracell Ultralight Series side, as they were having to come to pit road around a fuel window of 23 to 25 laps. They, of course, had that early yellow, got back green, I believe it was on lap 6, 5 or 6. But that's still, we're still gone a lot further here on the Cup side than we did on the light side in terms of fuel. But there's no way they can make it 107 laps on what they started this race with or what they got on that pit stop under yellow. So the question of just how far can they really go remains to be answered. As Carson now will try to put Benjamin Miles a second lap down. This pit road is very treacherous, though. We saw it yesterday in the Light Series race. Drivers can overshoot the commitment line, carry too much speed, get out into the grass. We've also seen drivers run each other over and get damage as a result. As we got one driver coming to pit road right now, that's Caleb Fogler. Now, he was just about to go a lap down. Fogler, I believe, has no hood. Oh, we got more drivers on pit road, so this actually is regularly scheduled. Who's that? Eric Sadler, Matt McIntyre, last week's winner James Qualls, Dylan Young, Summer Henson, who was up inside of the top 5, our pole sitter, Dylan Poteet, Jesse Turner, and Charles Sanford, all on pit lane. So we are getting some pit stops here. Let's see if Carson Gum might be coming in this lap. Doesn't look like it as he jumps to the outside of Miles. Oh, that's why, because Miles said he was coming to pit road. Comes Benjamin Snyder in as well in the 38 car from what was the second position. Ryan Brommer's in, Casey Hoyt. Ooh, Zachary Fitzwater. That might be a penalty. He went on the right side of the commitment cone, as does, who's that, Laura Chung? You're either going to get a 30-second penalty for an illegal pit entry, or in the case of Laura Chung, she may end up getting hit with a speeding penalty as well. We'll follow up on those, see if anybody does get hit with penalties here on this cycle of green flag pit stops. As Carson Gum's coming in, Destin Bolin, lap car, Reggie Fogelman from now second place, hits pit road. Jack Mitchell coming in, we haven't mentioned him, but he was able to make his way around Nick Gunther before this, and Gunther was just on the outside of the top 10. Kyle Matthews, Joshua Osborne all coming in here. We're keeping an eye on potential penalties, as I believe the car we're going to have to cycle around to eventually would be the 19 of Carson Gum. There's Snyder coming off of pit road. Henson's going to bypass him. Poteet is as well. Is Carson just further ahead, or is he yet to leave pit road? I think maybe we're waiting here. Well, let's go to the 78, because he got around the 38. We'll wait and see where Carson cycles. As you know, Summer Henson just jumped from 26th to 6th. There's Fogelman. There was Fitzwater. Carson Gum should be just up ahead here. And there he is. And Henson, I think, might actually leapfrog Carson Gum. Summer Henson's going to go to the race lead. So far this season, we have had an incredible rookie class, an incredible battle for the Rookie of the Year standings. But we've only had one of our rookie class go to victory lane, that being Eric Sadler back at North Wilkesboro. Summer Henson looking to maybe be the second driver donning the rookie stripes to find victory lane here this season. Summer is second in rookie points, only to Eric Monaco, 4 points out of the points lead. Sadler sits 9 points back in third. Daniel Bouchard 11 points back in fourth. And scoring has indeed updated itself. Summer Henson is now the new race leader. Toyotas have the top 3 positions as Carson Gum is in the runner-up spot, and Dylan Poteet, good solid pit stop, that number 1 pit stall, cycles him out to third place. Then it's the Fords. Benjamin Snyder in the 4th position. Jesse Turner in 5th. Last week's winner, James Qualls, looking for his 3rd win on the season, has cycled up to 6th. 7th place is going to be Ryan Brommer. 8th, Dylan Young. Good run here for a driver outside the top 30 in points. And 9th place is under contest. That is Matt McIntyre looking to take the position away from Reggie Fogelman. That is 9th and 10th place as they currently run. So I wondered about drivers potentially getting penalties here under the green flag pit stop, as slower car of Kyler Sustre going to hold up Carson Gum and company. Dylan Poteet will swing around that. That's going to wad up from about, 4th back to 8th, 9th. But can update that Laura Chung indeed did miss that commitment cone. So too did Zachary Fitzwater. They were both hit with 30-second penalties for illegal pit entry. They are both now one lap down. Fitzwater in 38th, Laura Chung in 39th. A couple of drivers that had some great runs last week. Fitzwater made his way up potentially into a conversation to get into the top 10 in points if you're able to have another top 10, top 5 run here this evening. And Laura Chung, of course, coming off that top 5 run last week. Almost had the victory at Donkey Kong Jungle Raceway. Summer Henson, though, with quite a gap, was able to make quick work of Kyler Sustre. Everybody else struggled to get around the 4. So Summer Henson currently is being scored about 3.2 seconds ahead of Dylan Poteet, who now has... Oh gosh, I was going to say, where is Poteet? And that's where he is. He's on pit road as the engine just expired on the Castrol GTX Toyota. I was literally trying to figure out why Poteet wasn't in second. There is your answer. Man, this team cannot buy any kind of good luck this season. They got the pole, had a great pit stop, were up in the top 3, and now Poteet is going to suffer yet another DNF with the engine expiration that had to have been over in turn 3, because he was fine coming out of turn 2 down the back straightaway, and now that turns second place over to the 47 of Jesse Turner. Now the gap from Henson back to Turner, 4.3 seconds. It's incredible to me how a driver can have a dominating season one year and then the following year it's like an entirely new team. I mean, you look at, let's take for example Fortnite Squad Racing, and let's not include the now Mazda drivers Nick Gunther and Anthony McCurry. Let's just look at the 2 other drivers that drove Chevrolets last season, in Dylan Poteet and Carson Gum. The Chevrolets benefited Poteet. He went to victory lane multiple times. He was in the Final 4 to compete for the championship. Carson Gum struggled week after week after week. They then make the swap over to the manufacturer's Toyota. Carson Gum goes to victory lane 3 times during the course of the first half of this regular season. He's up there battling for the regular season championship, whereas Dylan Poteet, we were waiting on him to even get a top 5 run. He's outside the top 30 in points coming into this race, as we've got smoke up there in turn 3. No caution. Not sure what happened there. Whatever it was, there's no yellow. But then Poteet, this season, he can't buy a good finish. It's incredible how seasons completely vary in terms of drivers' momentum, drivers' capability of being in the conversation for victories. It's nuts. If we have the opportunity here, if our camera guys have got it, we'll show you via the NNSCRA split cam what happened up there in turn 3 that did not bring out the yellow. But I do want to document a couple of drivers as well that we didn't really talk about yet that did not benefit on the Cycle of Green Flag pit stops. And one of them I just saw there, and it's a big one, is Levi McIntyre. Levi is back in the 32nd position, and he was battling for a spot either just inside or just outside of the top 10 before the pit stop cycle began. So I'm not sure what went wrong during the pit stop for the 99 machine, but it has lost him a ton of track position, and the worst news for him is Ryan Brommer and Carson Gum are currently scored up inside of the top 5. Brommer is 3rd, Carson is 4th. So Levi going to be looking to gain all that track position back. Alexander Rowe, I don't know what's happened to the 46 as of late as well. He was a pleasant surprise of the consistency we saw out of him. The Lake Effect Auto Sports driver making his return full-time to the Cup Series. Was up inside the top 10 for a moment, was up inside of the top 5 as well. We were talking about him maybe getting up into the conversation for the regular season championship, but last week, poor performance at Donkey Kong Jungle Raceway dropped him to 6th in points, and now he's outside the top 30 here this afternoon in 31st. So not sure what's exactly going wrong with him. Connor Breeden, the defending winner of this race from one season ago, We haven't mentioned his name at all. He's 29th right now. Multi-time winner on the season. Hiccup Bush was having a good run the early going in his debut. He's since dropped back out of the top 25, and he's battling with another driver that was having a decent run before the pit stops. That's Quentin Moore, who, if we look carefully, Quentin might have some damage. Maybe that's what happened to a number of these drivers. We talked about how this pit road's so difficult to get onto, and we saw in the lights race yesterday some stacking up on the entry to pit lane. There might have been some stacking up that we didn't necessarily see. And I think there is a little bit of a buckle on the hood of that 89, so he got into the back of somebody, I would assume during the pit stop, or maybe even just on pit road. Maybe a miscommunication of him pulling into his pit stall, somebody else pulling out. Some other drivers back here, some former winners, and RJ Bishop, Daniel Voiles, right now in wildcard positions. Haven't mentioned either of them here this evening. RJ in 21st, Daniel just ahead of him in the 20th position. Matt McIntyre had cycled around to 10th, and he has since dropped back to 17th. And a good fight here with Nick Gunther, Jessica Shelton. That's James Qualls and Austin LaPlante just up ahead. Qualls had cycled around to, what was it, in the top 5? I think he was 5th, 4th, 5th. Might have been, for a couple of these drivers, it might have been a situation of when they caught the 4 of Kyler Sustre. Some drivers might have get it held up more than others. Keith Batson, talked about him 35th in points, a former winner on the season back at Progressive Speedway. He is a total of 19 points below the 30th in standings cut line, and he's right now in 11th, so he could make his way back up into the top 30 after the conclusion of this race. Just ahead of Jack Mitchell. Nathan Ormond right now in the 13th spot, former winner that is now up to 22nd in points. Got that early victory at Manassas, fell out of the top 30 in points, and found something after the All-Star break. Charles Sanford, a former champion, right now holds the final spot inside of the top 10, as he nearly had a reared bumper full of Keith Batson. And as we make our way further up here, back towards the front, here's the battle for second place, as they're still trying to run down Summer Henson, who is a little under 5 seconds ahead of the 19 of Carson Gum. Got some traffic they got to deal with here. That's Eric Sadler in the 12, who is a lap down. Destin Bolin just up ahead, as well as Caleb Fogler and Zachary Fitzwater. Then the 78 of Summer Henson, who right now has about maybe a corner and a half over Carson. Carson trying to now reel in Destin Bolin, pulling away from Jesse Turner. Now we may have a multi-driver fight for the final spot on the podium. Autumn Brooks is there as well. Benjamin Snyder is up in this conversation also. A couple of laps ago, we should document, Summer Henson actually eclipsed the 17 and 16 laps led by Turner and Snyder. She now has the bonus point for most laps led. Just completed her 20th circuit out in front. Carson now trying to get around the Bible Broadcasting Network Ford of Caleb Fogler. Turner will look to do the same. 2 more cars left for Carson Gum to get around before he can put some focus on trying to battle Summer Henson for this race lead. Destin Bolin, 4-time winner on the season, yields the bottom to 3-time winner Carson Gum. Carson should have him cleared down here into turn 1. Well, maybe not. Destin powers into the entry of the corner and will swing back around Carson Gum. So I was looking at when these drivers came to pit road and everything, it looks like the fuel window for these drivers a little bit further than what the lights drivers had. As I think I just saw the caution lights come on off of turn 4, and yes, yellow flag waves. Only our second caution of the night. We are past the halfway point, and I guarantee you that is not what Summer Henson wanted to see, as she was enjoying an over 4-second gap back to Carson Gum. But yellow flag is going to wave. This is going to save a bunch of drivers too. That could have easily gone a lap down if we continue to trend green. Cody Lamas, Eric Monaco, Levi McIntyre all going to get saved. I think this was a wreck up inside of the top 10 as it's showing Autumn Brooks and Benjamin Miles, Benjamin Snyder rather, crossed the line outside of the top 30. Leaders come into pit road. Let's go back and take a look at what happened. Brooks and Snyder, who were having great runs here this evening, may have very well been the reason for this most recent yellow. And here's a look at it heading into turn 3. Yeah, looks like Snyder had to check up for Jesse Turner in front of him. Autumn Brooks gets into the right rear quarter panel of the 38, and they both go up into the outside retaining wall. 2-car incident. And I can confirm that both drivers involved were running inside of the top 5. Snyder had crossed the line in 4th. Autumn had crossed in 5th. You see right there, if Autumn had kind of bumped him square going into that corner, we probably wouldn't be under yellow right now, but she got him in the right rear quarter panel, and that turns him up into the wall. Fortunately, everybody else had plenty of space down to the inside to avoid. That was a head-on hit into the outside safer barrier for Benjamin Snyder. That is more than likely his evening concluded, and we've just been given the confirmation that both Benjamin Snyder and Autumn Brooks, who were both looking so strong here, looking like they were both going to finish inside of the top 5, both of them are now out of this race. Summer Henson's team dropped the ball on pit road as Carson Gum and the 19 crew going to get it done on the pit stop. They got off pit road first. Ryan Brommer came out second. Summer Henson in third. However, it looks like, Laura Chung actually is a lap down. I was going to say all 3 of the Auto Junction cars nose to tail, but only 2 of them are on the lead lap. Henson came out 3rd place. Looks like Jesse Turner and Reggie Fogelman were 4th and 5th. So this makes things interesting because I was going to say just before that caution came out, it looked like the fuel window for these drivers based off of the long green flag run we had in the cycle of pit stops was about 30 laps. A little bit further than what they were able to go in the late series race. When we go back green, we're going to be just under 40 laps to go. We're not home yet to be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel. There still will be one more pit stop yet to make somewhere around 10 laps to go. Maybe a little bit further past that. Maybe 8, 7 laps to go, something like that. That's going to be a crucial money stop. We've already seen pit road be a problem for some drivers, get hit with penalties. What was looking like otherwise top 5, top 10 days, now find drivers a lap down fighting to get back on the lead lap. This is only our second caution of the evening. Our first caution, Destin Bolin had a problem over in turn 2 in the early stages, led to a stack up. That ended up involving Cody Lamas, Michael Norman, and Caleb Fogler. And then this most recent yellow flag, contact between Autumn Brooks and Benjamin Snyder, taking them both out of the race as they were battling up inside of the top 5. Dylan Poteet, who had the pole position here tonight after the cycle green flag pit stops, was up to second, had an engine expire on him. He, Brooks, and Snyder are all out of the race, and I've just been told that another driver just retired out of the race just recently. Another engine let go, this time on the Mellow Yellow Chevrolet of Kyle Matthews, which you will be seeing footage of here shortly, maybe right now, courtesy of the NNSCRA split cam. That is another mechanical failure. And a tough break there for Kyle. We didn't talk much about him tonight, but he was up inside of the top 15 almost all night And he's going to now, once everything cycles around, probably finish this race in the 38th position. Bear in mind as well, another driver never even got to take the green flag here tonight, that being Matt Haas. He's going to get credited for 42nd. Doesn't even show up on our ticker due to the fact he didn't complete a single green flag lap. So a lot of drivers hitting some struggles here tonight. A lot of them while running really solidly in this race. So all these drivers up here towards the front, while they're looking good, don't give them this victory. Don't give them their top 5, their top 10 just yet. Lock and change between now and the checkered flag. Carson Gum trying to get by the lap cars, who a few of them are up to speed there. Fitzwater in the 83, Dustin Bolin in the 02, fighting to get their laps back. Fitzwater will do so. Dustin will do the same. Carson gets checked up through 3 and 4, so Brommer will jump to his outside, look to take the top position. Fitzwater and Bolin now, they're praying for a caution to happen, because then they would be able to cycle around to the tail end of the field. Brommer will get the race lead. Carson will drop back to second. Summer Henson under fire for third. Ryan Brommer, of course, coming off the victory, finally getting back to victory lane in the longest race of the season, the endurance race, the Coca-Cola 600, back at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And of course, as well, now fighting for that regular season championship, was only 10 points out of the points lead coming into tonight, 9 points behind Levi McIntyre, 10 points behind the driver trying to reel him back in at Carson Gum. Dustin Bolin, that was a position he just picked up right there, getting by Zachary Fitzwater, who now is in danger of falling a lap down once again. Oh, Carson just blew up! The second of the Fortnite Squad racing cars with an engine failure. And now he's got to try and stay out of the way, try and find a way down to the inside safely, which he will do so. His teammate Dylan Poteet had an engine blow up while running in second earlier on, and now Carson, running in second place, also just had the engine go. Ironically, he just ran his fastest lap of the race, too. And now it's a question, is this just a Fortnite Squad racing thing? Is this a Toyota thing? We've had another engine failure with Kyle Matthews, so now the S3 Motorsports drivers have to be worried. Our third mechanical failure of the night, and 2 of the 3 have been Toyotas out of Fortnite Squad Racing. We also need to remember that Matt Haas never even took the green flag. That's another Toyota, so there could be a lot of trouble in the Toyota camp, and look what we've got up here at the front. First, second, third, Toyota, Toyota, Toyota. Brommer, Henson, Fogelman. There have got to be a lot of nervous drivers right now. Not knowing if this is secluded to one manufacturer, one organization. Might not be the last engine failure we see, as oh my gosh, I've just been told there were 2 other mechanical failures. And you guys are seeing them right now. So it is not just a Toyota thing. A couple more Chevrolets blew up in the last 5 laps. Cole Deaver and Jack Mitchell. I don't think we've ever had a race that could be spun into the term engine gate. This might be the first. And I'm getting information on, what the diagnoses are of these retirements for Dylan Poteet, engine camshaft, for Kyle Matthews, engine camshaft. I've just been told engine clutch for Jack Mitchell, engine ignition for Cole Deaver. And Carson Gum, the report just came in, engine piston. So what, piston, ignition, clutch, camshaft. This is nuts. And we got to keep our head on a swivel, keep an eye on scoring, see if anybody else is going to fall victim to a mechanical failure. Second place under contest now. I mean, the only manufacturer right now that's got to be feeling, you know, somewhat comfortable that they're not going to have a problem, it's got to be the Fords, maybe even the Mazdas. Because so far, all the mechanical failures that we've seen have been Toyotas and Chevrolets. I mean, this is crazy. I'm speechless. I've not seen a mass exodus of engine failures like we've seen so far in this race. And there's still about 30 laps to go, a little under 30 laps to go. You know, you would think that something like this would be seen in maybe an endurance race like the Coca-Cola 600, a race like last week at Donkey Kong Jungle Raceway, a road course where we're continually downshifting, upshifting, where there's a lot of wear and tear on the engines. I wouldn't have necessarily thought that a track like Kentucky would have been a track where something like this would be happening, but here we are. A couple of former Kentucky winners now up inside of the top 10 due to what's happened here in the last 25 laps. Nick Gunther currently in 5th. Nathan Ormond looking to his inside for that spot in the top 5 position. Matt McIntyre right now in 7th, and man, I don't want to put the commentator curse on, but good to see Austin the Plant having a good run here. 9th place currently for the Ally Chevrolet. Austin is still looking for his first top 5 on the season. He has 2 top 10s. He's the driver that is... We just had another engine expire. Charles Sanford, another Chevrolet. This is nuts. That's going to move LaPlante now to 9th. Another engine expiration, another Chevrolet. That's the second engine to go on an S3 Motorsports car, as Cole Deaver had his engine die on him just after we went green. Actually, no, that's the third, because Kyle Matthews is an S3 Motorsports car. That's all 3. So we've had both of the Toyotas out of Fortnite Squad Racing. We've had all 3 of the Chevrolets out of S3 Motorsports. Because remember, Jessica Shelton is a Dodge Intrepid project car. She's not a Chevrolet Camaro. We've also had the Chevrolet out of Adrenaline Motorsports with Jack Mitchell. There's no other Adrenaline Motorsports cars. Mitchell's the only car fielded out of that organization. So now, the entire S3 Motorsports Chevy camp, the entire Fortnite Squad Racing Toyota camp, has some contact there between Fogelman and Brommer for second place. Actually, that's for the race lead with Summer Henson. This is all going on for the top spot. Fogelman for the first time out in front. So now... Is that all of the potential engine problems? Was it all isolated between those 3 teams, S3, Adrenaline, and Fortnite Squad Racing? I don't know. I don't know. So Charles Sanford is going to drop down the running order. He'll finish 34th here tonight. Well, no, because we got to remember, too, Matt Haas and Haas Racing. Remember Kyler Sustre made an unscheduled pit stop earlier on in this race? So Reggie Fogelman out in front. We got to keep an eye on him. First time tonight, though, that Fogelman's been out in front. So far, we've only had 6 drivers lead, 5 of them for double digits. Summer Henson's led the most laps, 23 laps out in front, 18 laps for Jesse Turner, 16 for Benjamin Snyder, who's now out of this race, 13 for Ryan Brommer, and 11 for Carson Gum, who is also out of this race. And Reggie Fogelman, now the 6th different driver to lead here this evening. Michael Norman Motorsports Fords making their way forward. Matt McIntyre, Nathan Ormond, 6th and 7th, trying to get by the 5th place car of Jesse Turner. McIntyre, actually that's 5th and 6th. They just crossed the line in. They must have just completed a pass. Looks like they might have gotten around Nick Gunther. Teammates going to go side by side. Summer Henson is not on the lead lap. Make that Laura Chung rather not on the lead lap. Summer Henson completing the pass around her Auto Junction Racing teammate. Trying to get up there to Reggie Fogelman. Ryan Brommer, another teammate right there as well, in 3rd. Turner in 4th. Matt McIntyre in the 5th position. Destin Bolin still clamoring for a caution as he's still been ahead of the leader, whoever it may be, on the tail end of the lead lap. Caution would get him back to the tail end of the field after going a lap down early in this one. Keeping an eye on so many things right now. Keeping an eye on the scoring. Trying to kind of keep an eye through the field. See if anybody else is going to fall victim to a mechanical problem. And of course as well, keeping an eye on our top left, the lap counter. Because we know these drivers can't make it on fuel. They're going to have to make another pit stop. Now the window is open. If they wanted to pit right here, right now, they could pit, get enough fuel to get the rest of the way. However, they would have to take on more fuel to get to the checkers. That pit stop, that final pit stop is going to take place around 10 laps to go. And we are about, 7, 8 laps away from that here. At least based off of what we saw during that long green flag run in the cycle of pit stops. About 30 laps. Looks like the number that they can go. But what a difference a race like this makes as Nathan Ormond's on pit lane. So here we go. But look at some of these drivers now. They're up inside the top 10. We talked about LaPlante. How about Daniel Bouchard? He's now up in the top 10. He just took the 8th position away from Austin LaPlante. Jessica Schulten is now up here, battling with Joshua Osborne. That's for the 9th position. James Qualls just on the outside of the top 10. Remember we mentioned about Voiles and McIntyre, how they were struggling? Now they're in 12th and 13th. Nobody else on pit road here. Oh, there's a couple. Ormond completes his stop. Connor Breton as well. So they're going for the undercut. They're going to take on more fuel. They're going to spend a little more extra time on pit road, but we'll see if this cycles them around to anything better than where they were running. Ormond, I think, was around 6th when he pit. We'll have to bear that in mind, see where he is in the final finishing results. Got some more coming in. That's a lap car of Laura Chung. You've also got Joshua Osborne. He is a lead lap machine. Kyler Sustre, we saw him pit just a moment ago. Another lap car. So Ormond, Osborne, Breton going with the short pit strategy. See some more here in the next 5 laps or so. When do we see the race leader Fogelman in? Ryan Brommer has moved into 2nd. Now trying to get by the lap car of Fitzwater as Jesse Turner makes the dive onto pit road. Turner's team did a good job on the first cycle of pit stops to gain him track position, having that number 2 pit stall. Looks like his teammate Eric Monaco is coming in as well. A lot of varying strategies here. We're not seeing a big chunk of cars coming down together. Little packs of 2 or 3 each and every lap. Somebody I think is coming in here because Matt McIntyre is way up the track. Actually, Matt's coming in. couple of the Michael Norman Motorsports cars there as Daniel Bouchard, his rookie teammate, comes in. Jessica Shelton, Austin LaPlante, all inside of the top 10 making pit stops. Some others further back. Someone just blew up. Is that Shelton? So now all 4 S3 Motorsports cars. Shelton just blew up coming to pit road. Doesn't matter if it was a Chevy or a Project Dodge. All 4 S3 Motorsports cars have now blown up in this race. Saw some others like McCrory and RJ Bishop from outside of the top 10 pitting. Here comes the race leader, Fogelman. Summer Henson coming in. Caution's out. Yellow flag is out. That cannot be for the Shelton incident. It was somebody back further. That was Daniel Voiles having trouble getting onto pit road. And Brommer stayed out. Nathan Orman is blown up. He had just made a pit stop. And now, with Ryan Brommer staying out, it's a question of who won the battle off pit road for the cycle. Brommer's going to have to pit. Brommer cannot win this race on fuel. We're going to go back green. Who won the battle off pit road? Let's see. Alexander Rose stayed out. Dylan Young stayed out. Hiccup Bush stayed out. Who's cycling out to the next spot? Is it Matt? It might be the 21. Here come all those drivers onto pit road that were going to pit more than likely the next lap around under green flag conditions. I think Matt McIntyre might cycle to the front. Whoa, look out. Keith Batson's flying around. Is it Batson? I don't know who it is. Huh. We're going to have to get this figured out. A lot of stuff happening right now on my scoring monitor as well. Cody Lamas is being hit with a black flag. I don't know if maybe for passing under yellow. I mean, the timing of that caution was really, really weird. Shelton we saw have the mechanical failure. They're also scoring Michael Norman out of this race, so I'm wondering if he might have been the one that got into Daniel Voiles that led to this yellow. Nope. Let's find the 22. Was he the reason for the caution? Oh, that's why Ormond was blown up. He just completely annihilated his teammate going into 3. And Michael ends up perched on the outside safer barrier. We do have to remember that Nathan Ormond had just made a pit stop, so he had fresher tires, but I don't see how that absolves him from just completely running over the 22. Watch this. I mean, he never was going to make that corner. Ormond was never going to make that corner. He never turned in. He was going straight. And Michael Norman ends up on top of the safer barrier. I have not seen that before in a long, long time. Here's another camera angle of it. My gosh. Now we can confirm, we won't show footage of it, we thought that the Daniel Voiles spin at the entrance of pit road might have been the reasoning for the caution. He made some door-to-door contact with Levi McIntyre that half spun him. No damage for either driver. They both were fine. So that's the good news there for Daniel Voiles. And that was not the reason the caution came out. The caution came out for what we just showed you. So now, here's the situation with the timing of the yellow. I wondered if Matt McIntyre might be the leader. No, he is on the tail end of the lead lap because he did not cross the line before the caution came out. He has to line up behind the pace car, as do a number of other drivers. Matt McIntyre is right now scored in the 13th position. The race leader is going to be all the way back here. That is Reggie Fogelman. Fogelman's going to be the leader, though he will not start up at the front of the field. Summer Henson is scored in second. Third place is James Qualls. Levi McIntyre is fourth. Casey Hoyt in fifth. Then it's Voiles, Brommer, Young, Rowe, and Hiccup Bush is right now the top 10. This restart is going to be with less than 10 to go. So there will be no double file, no lap cars moving up to the inside. Single file, lap cars all intermingled. All the tail end of the lead lap cars from 13th on back to 25th will restart in front of Reggie Fogelman. This is going to be one of the most convoluted restarts of the entire night because of the timing of that yellow flag right in the middle of green flag pit stops. And now we've got some miscommunication up here. Quentin Moore is pulled down to the inside. Has he got a problem? He's got something wrong. He's yielding to the rest of the field there on the inside. He might be coming to pit road. A driver that came into this race 10th in points, was in that critical spot. Also, Cody Lamas, whatever the black flag he got, it was under green. They have yet to clear it. He's going to have to serve a pass-through here when we go back racing. He would have restarted in the 12th position. So we're going to keep our focus back here because this is going to be the battle for the race lead, potentially the battle for the race win, coming to 8 laps to go here at Kentucky. Our third caution of the night. This has been a, I don't want to even say incredible race because it's been good, but it's been weird. As green flag back in the air, and now Reggie Fogelman's got to play offense and defense at the same time. He's got his teammate Kyler Sustry right up ahead of him. Summer Henson's going to move him up the track, looking for the top spot down the back straightaway. And now traffic for both of these drivers through 3 and 4. Who's going to get through it the best? Look at Levi McIntyre shooting up the middle there for third on Qualls and Casey Hoyt. There's Cody coming to pit road to serve the penalty. Fogelman is going to get the race lead. Qualls will move to second. Levi McIntyre into third. Issue resolved for Quentin Moore. He's back out on the racetrack. As look at all the cars that Reggie Fogelman has to deal with in front of him. Eric Sadler, Dustin Bolin. Qualls now to the inside line. Here comes Levi McIntyre looking for second. He'll get to the outside of Qualls out of 4. Levi looking for his first win on the season. Now he's going to get boxed in, though. Qualls will get back to his inside. A wall of race cars right now between Reggie Fogelman and the battle for second. Daniel Voiles is now up in the conversation. Fogelman now looking to the inside of Destin Bolin. He's got a couple of lap cars between himself and second place, which is between Qualls and McIntyre. Fogelman completes the pass on Bolin. Good lap traffic management here by the Hyper Ice Toyota. Qualls is clearing to second. McIntyre trying to fight off Daniel Voiles for third. He'll get the spot. Brommer moves to fourth. Voiles drops back to fifth. Now it's Qualls trying to reel in Reggie Fogelman, looking for his third win on the season. Back-to-back victories off the heels of last week at Donkey Kong Jungle Raceway. A look at the cars now that Fogelman's got to deal with. Jesse Turner, who started this race on the outside of the front row. Qualls trying to get around Fitzwater. Can't do it. Fogelman will still have a reprieve. Still has a lap car between himself and Qualls, as he'll try to get by Jesse Turner. Right now, the lap cars and the lap counter are the friend of Reggie Fogelman. Qualls now under fire for second from Summer Henson. Almost 3 wide there in front of Fogelman. Eric Monaco moves out of the way of the 5. Less than 3 to go down the back straightaway. Now again, a double file wall between Fogelman and Qualls. Qualls, though, trying to find something. 2 laps to work with, 3 miles. They're wadded up from second place on back. Henson, Brommer, McIntyre Alexander Rowe, Casey Hoyt, Daniel Voiles. Reggie Fogelman now in the back bumper of last season's Kentucky winner. Oh, contact made! They save it! Fogelman hangs on to it. He'll complete the pass. Aggressive move. It may pay off. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go here at Kentucky. Reggie Fogelman got his first career win running a part-time schedule back in Season 5. They started the season late in that team. He bet on himself. He left Northeast Motorsports. He went over mid-season last season to Haas Racing. Ran full-time this season, and it's going to pay dividends. Off turn 4, Kentucky will belong to Reggie Fogelman, his second win of his Duracell Next Gen Cup Series career. Reggie came into this race 28th in points. I mentioned the beginning of the night. There's a bunch of drivers that if they go to victory lane that are just outside the top 20 but just inside the top 30, they are going to make the wild card conversation very, very interesting. Reggie Fogelman did just that. As he survives here tonight, the engine hangs on most importantly, and he is going to go back to victory lane for the first time in 3 seasons of Duracell Cup Series competition. It'll mark the 3rd win on the season for Haas Racing. He was really the only man standing for the team with Kyler Sustre multiple laps down. Matt Haas didn't even take the green flag. He'll get it done here tonight, and he will look now in the final 5 races of the season to keep himself in the hunt for a playoff position via wild card, looking for his first berth into the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series playoff grid. What a race. Unpredictable. I was going to say unbelievable, but let's go with another beginning word. Unpredictable was the theme of the race here tonight. Unpredictable with the cautions, unpredictable with whose engine was going to survive. And these are the end results of what took place here this evening. Reggie Fogelman will pick up the victory. Summer Henson will finish in 2nd after, not leading the most laps. I thought Summer had led the most laps. Reggie Fogelman led 1 lap more. So he'll get the bonus point for most laps led, 24 to Summer's 23. Levi McIntyre is going to carry the points lead into next week's race at Homestead, Miami, as he brings it home in the top 5 in 3rd. Ryan Brommer will be close behind him, though, as he will finish in 4th. This should move him to 2nd in points, and James Qualls may move to 3rd in points after he's going to finish in back-to-back top 5 runs, his win last week, and 5th here tonight. Daniel Voiles, he's going to continue to move up through the point standings as he gets 6th. Alexander Rowe, this was a well-needed run for him, kind of stopped the bleeding in terms of the loss of momentum for the 46 team. He'll get 7th. Dylan Young, good run there for the 2-car, well-needed run for him as he's only scored 3 top 10s so far this season. He'll get 7th. Casey Hoyt he'll finish in 8th for Dylan Young. Casey Hoyt, good run in 9th after good starting track position pays dividends. And how about the debut of one Hiccup Busch here tonight? First career start, he'll bring it home with a 10th place finish. Well done to him. Nick Gunther, he's going to more than likely make his way back up into the top 10 in points as he finishes 11th. Austin LaPlante didn't get the top 10 run, but a good performance there for him as he'll get 12th. Matt McIntyre, well-needed run as, man, that car has been on a momentum skid the last couple of weeks. He'll net a top 15 in 13th. Keith Batson, 14th. Is that enough for him to get back in the top 30 in points? We'll have to wait and find out. He was 19 points behind the 30th in the standings cut line coming into this race, as 15th goes to Daniel Bouchard. Joshua Osborne 16th, Anthony McCurry in 17th. Jesse Turner, I'm not really sure what happened with Jesse. I don't know if it was just the timing of that yellow during the green flag pit stops that really hurt him, but he was looking like a top 5, top 10 car all night long. Of course, qualified on the outside of the front row. Might have just gotten bit by the timing of that yellow. He'll finish on the lead lap in 18th, and RJ Bishop was the last driver to finish on the lead lap in the 19th spot. Zachary Fitzwater, the first car one lap down, in 20th place. A number of drivers struggled here tonight right out of the gate. Destin Bolin was fighting to stay on the lead lap most of this race as he'll finish 24th. Caleb Fogler got damaged early on in this one. Never had a car that was up to speed after that, finishing in 25th. Cody Lamas, had a bad run at the start, was involved in the first caution. The caution that came out for the last time tonight looked like it was going to benefit him, but then he got a black flag, had to serve the penalty, finishes ultimately 26th. Laura Chung, 1 week removed from that top 5 finish, falls a lap down, never was able to recover, 27th for her. Quentin Moore came into this race in the 10th position in points, 29th, so he's going to undoubtedly fall out of the top 10 in points. We'll look to get back into the playoff position conversation next week, and then you look here at the remainder of the finishing results, and all four of the S3 Motorsports cars, Chevrolets and Dodges, all with engine failures. Both of the Toyotas out of Fortnite Squad Racing, engine failures. The Chevrolet out of Adrenaline Motorsports, Jack Mitchell, engine failure. Nathan Ormond out of the race, Michael Norman out of the race. Not a good night for a couple of the Michael Norman Motorsports cars. Benjamin Snyder and Autumn Brooks had great runs going inside the top 5. They got together, bringing out our second caution, 39th and 40th for them, and not listed on the finishing results is Matt Haas, who never even got to take the green flag here this evening. Mechanical failures. The talk of the evening. What was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mechanical failures here tonight out of all the drivers that retired out of this event. I have no words. The fact that it was so secluded as well to 3 organizations, Adrenaline Motorsports, S3 Motorsports, and Fortnite Squad Racing. You gotta think with another 1.5 mile track coming up here at Homestead, Miami, those 3 teams are going to be heavily diving into what went wrong here tonight to make sure it doesn't happen again next week. But congratulations to Reggie Fogelman, his second career victory, his first as a full-time driver, and now we'll have to see if Fogelman can use this to translate it into a playoff berth here in the chase for the championship with 5 regular season races still remaining. Thank you all for tuning into this race from Kentucky. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, part of the crew today. We showed you your full finishing results, and now you're looking at the point standings as a result of tonight's chaotic race. Next week, we are at the Homestead Miami Speedway. It will be the last 1.5 mile racetrack for the remainder of this regular season. We've then got the road course of Watkins Glen, the miniature Pocono at Hanford Speedway, the dirt-covered Bristol, and the Auto Club Speedway, the 2-mile speedway / super speedway to cap off this regular season and find out who will be the 16 drivers to battle for this season's championship. But until next week, it's a doubleheader with Lights and Cup, by the way. I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, Offline Racing at its best.
The following has been a presentation of NNSCRA TV for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of the NNSCRA is prohibited. NNSCRA would like to thank all of our loyal fans, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.